Hello everybody, today we'll be talking about the Minnesota Wild. Now before we start, please make sure to like and subscribe. Now let's talk about Minnesota. So this is potentially a really weird season for them. Now the team had a good regular season last year and they took the Golden Knights to the 7th game in the first round. And it's probably something that you wonder afterwards, have things fallen off a little bit, because it's just been kind of weird. Primarily it's due to the contract talks between the Wild and the Calder winner, Kirill Kaprizov. Now, at this point, you probably know he was going to go off. He was going to go to the KHL. He was going to go back to his old team, CSKA Moscow. But that didn't happen by September 1st like he said it would. Instead, he really doesn't have a lot of leverage now. I got to be honest with you here, as we have to wait and see what's going to happen. Now, he does have some leverage, but not as much as he did if he went over to the KHL. Now, the young Russian wants a shorter deal with a higher AAV, and Minnesota wants to lock him up to an 8-year deal. And it makes sense. It was 1 year, and it seems crazy to give somebody that's only played 1 year an 8-year deal, but he looks like the real deal. Personally, I couldn't see him signing the 8-year contract because, he came over later than he probably would have hoped, and he knows that it's better to get paid when you're about to enter your prime than when you're in your 30s. So, he is probably going to avoid anything that would go past age 29. Now, do I think a contract will be finalized with Minnesota before their first game? Yes, but expect some drama before it gets done. And if it doesn't get done before the first game, expect this to be something that is covered everywhere, every day. Now, drama seems to be a theme for Minnesota this season, and the Jack Eichel rumors are a big part of that. While it seems hard to imagine what Minnesota could throw together in a package deal for Buffalo, there are some pieces. Obviously, Rossi's a piece. Management hasn't really hid the fact that they've moved cap to try to get him. They've even said, hey, we would really like to get Eichel. They've been the team that they've talked about kicking the tires on a deal. They've moved money around, and they might be able to do this. They might be able to get Kaprizov and Eichel. Now, they'd still have to move some more money, but it is a possibility. There is a way. Having these two players on the same team would put the Wild in a whole new place in the hockey world in terms of brand name, likability, sales, jersey sales, all that stuff. It would be something Minnesota hasn't had a ton of experience in their history with, having multiple huge names on their roster. Now, will it happen? I'm leaning towards no. And I don't really see Minnesota being a front runner for Eichel, but I won't rule anything out just yet because the organization, again, they've shown a lot of interest in a top 10 player, and showing Kaprizov they want to bring in a big name player to win would be something obviously that might get him to sign a deal. Now, obviously, Eichel would be their best player if they went into a different direction, so we'll have to see. Which leads to the final point being, will the Wild miss or make the playoffs? They're going back to the Central. We've already talked about the Central in a bunch of our videos. And honestly, usually I say, I don't like this team's odds. I like Minnesota's odds, but I'm not sure how I feel if Kirill doesn't start before the sign before the season starts. It's not an easy decision, but they've got a core that can win. They've got a core that can possibly win in the playoffs. I'm not saying a Stanley Cup Finals, but maybe a round or two. Now I could see them finishing out. I could, if they didn't get a deal done with him. But it's hard to tell with this team because there are a ton of different factors here. How weird could this season be? Insanely weird. Minnesota is probably, the weirdest team I've had to cover in terms of where their season could go. We could be looking at Kirill Kaprizov and Jack Eichel making a deep run in the playoffs, or we could be looking at a contract holdout with the Calder winner and Jack Eichel being on a team that's not Minnesota or Buffalo, and the Wild could miss the playoffs. Now, what I will say is this. I couldn't see Minnesota really having a bad year. I could see them probably maybe just missing out towards the end of the year. They'd be in the wild card hunt. But I do think, regardless of what happens, this is going to be a really, really weird year for Minnesota, and the next few months will probably decide what happens for this team. Who knows how it'll go, but yeah, it is going to be a roller coaster. How weird do you think the Wild season could get? Let me know down below. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. Go love hockey, alright? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.